Hello amigos, welcome back to another episode of Los Artilleros. Well, there we have it. They were the last two Mexico friendlies that they're going to be playing this year. The first game obviously was against South Korea, and the second game was against Japan. Before I go into the games, I just want to say that it's really cool that Mexico's been playing opponents outside the US and South America and Central America as well over the past few months. I think it's very much needed. Um, I think Mexico's gotten a little bit too comfortable playing the same old teams. They're clearly the best team in North America anyway, and maybe Central America as well. So they dominate all the time, and I think that um, you can't really learn from things when you're basically the dominant team in the area. So it was good to see some more different opponents this time. So yeah, let's dive into the games. So obviously the first one was against South Korea. I think despite having Son from Spurs in there, I think everyone thought that Mexico were going to clearly dominate this game. It didn't really happen. It obviously ended in a 3-2 win for Mexico, but it was not easy at all. Diabolical first half, in my opinion. I didn't actually watch the game, by the way. I watched the highlights of it because I was sick at work. But yeah, it looked like a really bad first half, unfortunately. The defence was a bit all over the place. Obviously Mexico went 1-0 down at one point. Very concerning about the defence. Very concerning about the fact that Hugo Gonzalez was in goal, and he looked nervous. He did not look like he was enjoying it at all. He didn't look like he was trying to seize the opportunity either. But yeah, the whole defence looked out of shape. They looked like a team that hadn't played together very often. South Korea came flying out of the box. I mean, they were really up for this game. They could have quite easily won it, in my opinion. Very worrying again for the defence. The attacking as well, obviously, Mexico's best front three started this game. Jimenez in the middle, Tecatito and Lozano on the wings. And, Jimenez would go on to score in the second half, but they all three had quiet games. And they created quite a lot, but the end product was just not there, and that's a little bit concerning. I can only assume it's because those front three haven't really played very much together. So yeah, a really disappointing first half for the defence as well as the attack. But going into the second half, it was a much stronger second half from Mexico. Obviously, Jimenez got his goal. Carlos Salcedo scored as well, and then obviously Antuna came in and scored the third. All within about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes of each other, which is quite funny. Not quite sure what clicked in that period of time compared to the rest of the game. But yeah, special shout out to Orbelin Pineda and Uriel Antuna this game. I think both of them had really good games in my opinion. And obviously Pineda got a couple of assists. And Antuna got his goal, and he's been scoring for fun now for Mexico and Chivas over the last few months. He's really overcome his off the field issues. And he's proven to Chivas and to the Chivas fans as well as Mexico fans that he's learned from his mistakes, and he's doing really well. So hopefully he can keep on improving, and maybe even head back to Europe one day. Maybe. So yeah, going into the second game against Japan, obviously that was a couple of hours ago. Again, very slow start for Mexico. Japan just came out and just dominated probably the whole first half. And Artilleros started this game, and he really proved that he's by far Mexico's number one. I mean, he pulled off a few really quality saves. I mean, it reminded me of the Brazil in the Brazil game in 2014 when they played them. It's a 0-0 draw. Just brilliant saves. He's by far the best goalkeeper in Mexico at the moment, and has been for quite a while. It is a little bit worrying that obviously Hugo Gonzalez apparently is the closest one to his replacement, and he looked out of his depth against South Korea. So that's going to be a position where I'm going to be a bit worried about now, because once Artilleros starts dipping, which I don't think will happen for another couple of years, but he will eventually dip, and there's no ready-made replacement for him, which is a bit worrying. The defence as well looked out of sorts. Moreno didn't really impress me that much, to be honest. Jorge Sanchez didn't impress me at all. Yeah, he looked out of his depth. And for the whole half, Mexico couldn't handle Japan's press. I mean, even Tata Martino came out, as John Marshall reported, that he's saying it was probably the worst half of football he's seen since he took over from the Mexico job. And that tells you everything you need to know. I mean, Mexico has had a few poor games since Tata's joined, but say that it's the worst performance, I agree. Mexico had no answer for Japan at all. But again, like South Korea, they came out in the second half, and Jimenez and Lozano both got their goals. It's quite fun that Jimenez scored both games. He's scoring for fun as well. He doesn't score that much for Mexico, I've noticed. Somebody put out a stat that he's barely scored for Mexico. He's never scored for them in the World Cup. I'm sure that's going to change soon. But yeah, he's scoring for fun. He's doing really well. He's obviously the leading talisman up front now. I think Tecatito and Chucky needs a bit more time for them all three to connect. But once they do click, I mean, once they get a few more games under their belts where they're all playing together, I think that's going to be a super scary front three. I mean, it's probably exciting. It's the part of the Mexico national team that everyone talks about at the moment. All three are doing really well for their clubs. So hopefully that can translate that into the national team. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Artilleros, he's not been doing great with his team Ajax, his club, but he's still performing well with the Mexico team, and I think he's one of the guys now that's going to be taking over Guardado and Hector Herrera's spot. In particular, Guardado. I think Guardado is more of a defensive midfielder, and I think Alvarez is on the cusp of taking over that position, in my opinion. And he played really well against Japan when he came on, so yeah, overall, 2 victories out of 2 games. Tata Martino's, I think that he lost 1 or 2 games since he's been in Mexico. I think he's lost 1 game against Argentina in his whole time that he's been Mexico coach. So there is a significant improvement, in my opinion. But the beautiful thing about these 2 games and the previous games against Netherlands and the other opponent, I can't remember, is that Tata Martino would have learnt more out of these last 4 games than he would have done, if we'd beaten Panama 6-2 or 6-0 or whatever. Hopefully he's taken useful things away from these games, and he can improve, maybe slimline his starting 11 a bit. I want to see a little bit less rotations. I want to see him have a core starting 11 and then just playing with them, and maybe slotting in another player or 2 in different positions, just to keep things fresh. But yeah, overall 2 good games, 2 wins. But there are negatives, and there are things that they need to work on, and things that we should be concerned about. The goalkeeper position, the defence in general didn't look up to par for me in both games, and that needs to be worked on. The midfield as well. Midfield was alright. I mean, we missed Herrera, in my opinion. But we've got plenty of centre backs coming in, hopefully in the not too distant future. So yeah, guys, that's my general review for both games. Let me know what you thought of both games. Were you happy with the wins? Are you worried about anything? Let me know. So yeah, this the last 2 friendlies for the year for Mexico. But we'll be back next time for the next round of friendlies, and obviously we'll review them as well. So like and subscribe to my page if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. Give us a comment. I always reply. So yeah, thanks guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.